You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. We're so happy that you're here. You really make what we do so enjoyable and so meaningful because we want to bring content that's relevant to you. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And with me, even though she's on the road, she is the wonderful, the loyal, the beautiful Diann Floyd Boehm. Hi, Diann.
Hi, Jackie. It's Friday. I love today.
I do too. Thank you so much for stopping during your road trip to make sure that you're here because it wouldn't be the same without you, Diann.
Oh, you're so sweet. And I love today. So it will always happen unless, God forbid, something bad happens.
So as you know, this show is fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. You've traveled extensively. You're still traveling, which I love. You're always on the move. Got a lot going on. But I'm also a huge fan of jewelry. How about you?
Me too. And oh my goodness, if you saw my home, maybe I shouldn't tell everyone. Yes.
Don't give the address.
Yes. We'll just leave it at yes. But I love all jewelry, you know, from vintage, how they make jewelry. It's and the stages and the history of making jewelry. So today's going to be a blast.
It sure is. I think if you wear a piece of jewelry, it completely can change how you feel about yourself or about your outfit or the message that you're trying to convey to other people. And it also gives you this individualism and this uniqueness. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree completely. And it was something that my mom, grandma, and Aunt Pat instilled in me. So from wearing teeny tiny pieces to just a huge show. So
I want to ask our guests when we bring her out if there's any specific etiquette around jewelry wearing, and I'll explain a little bit when she comes on. But before we bring her on, Diann, I'm going to spotlight you. You have an incredible career that continues to progress, and I'd love for you to just share with people. You are an international award-winning children's author. You're also a performer. You're a mom. You're a wife. You have traveled the world. You have friends everywhere. You are the queen of networking and bringing people together. So
sweet.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I do feel blessed, being a small town Texas girl and then having the ability, again, I see it as a strong blessing to see the world and meet beautiful people all around the world. And still have a couple more continents to do, which would be really fun. But I think what I really love to do now, from going to teaching to elementary school to writing children's books, is when kids read my books, and parents as well, is to make them feel good about themselves and to realize there are beautiful people all over the world, and to embrace how much we're alike and to find ways to love one another. And that's what I love, and the message I love to get across in my books. And I'm just feel really lucky to have won some international awards and to have my books in various countries. And I'm looking forward to the fall, where I'll have a release of 2 new books. Yay!
Yay! Diann, would you please share with people why it's so important for everyone to read children's books? It's not just for children.
Right. I've read where some people think, oh, I hate it when authors say, oh, my books are for every age. But I disagree with that. I believe that that books are, as they say, the windows to so much adventure. But children's books, for the most part, I believe most authors really just want to bring out imagination. And sometimes, as adults, we get so bogged down in just our everyday living that we forget to use our imagination. And so when we read various books like My Harry the Camel or The Little Girl on the Moon and the Big Idea, our brain starts to relax, and we just start imagining and begin to rekindle that lovely person inside. And that's why I want parents to enjoy the books for them too. I think my children's books have a lot of layering. And so how a child will read it, or a middle school person, or an adult, is going to read it at a different level because of life experiences. And so children's books and that layering does that for parents as well.
Thank you, Diann. Very well stated.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring out our guest. She's joining us from London, and her name is Nakibirango-London. And I hope I got her last name right, but hello, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, ladies.
Hello. I love London.
Oh, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
I don't know if it's as warm. Is it warm where you are? It's summertime, isn't it?
Yes, it's summer.
Yes.
Trying our best.
The people from London I've met all during the pandemic are so wonderful. Everybody's just so filled with life and polite and courteous and interesting.
Very courteous, yes. Very reserved and courteous. I'm actually Ugandan Irish. My mother's Irish and my father's from Uganda, but I grew up between many countries. So I had the privilege of also moving around as a kid, but I schooled in London.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's the accent you hear.
And just an FYI, I've been to Uganda many times. So
no way.
Yeah, we'll have to talk offline.
Oh, wow.
I love Uganda.
Oh, my gosh. And I loved your message there, Diann, about children's books. And it really touched me. So thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Thank you. Yeah. You're welcome.
So as you know, we could talk on any number of subjects with you. As I shared with you backstage, this is your show and we'll go in any direction. But let's at least start off with telling us about your work in the world of jewelry.
Yeah. So I had no idea I had a creative streak. And I think back in 2008, I started to just work with beads and do beading. I've always had a love for crystals and semi-precious stones. And my sister, who actually lives in California, she bought me a jewelry making book and said, you need to keep busy. You have to keep busy. And I started just doing some beading, string necklaces, stringing some pearls, just to learn how to make earrings. And it sort of went from there. And then I started having friends and family ask me to make them pieces and Christmas presents, and they were prepared to actually pay. And over the years, I started to develop a website. I got a bit more involved and learned techniques in wire wrapping, still within the beading arena. And then in 2010, I thought, okay, I need to take it up a notch and go into metalwork. So I took on a year's diploma with University of Arts London in silversmithing and manufacturing. So that was teaching me how to learn at the bench, how to use traditional jewellery, silversmithing specifically skills. So there were different modules that we learned: how to use a saw blade, how to use, filing utensils, I say utensils, but tools, how to work at the bench safely, and the history of jewellery and metallurgy. And then before I knew it, I graduated from there and I launched a jewellery brand and I started to sell online. And I now have an online e-commerce platform, Nakibirango.com. And I have 4 collections now. So I found that I've got a designer streak. I do commission pieces. So I do some handmade pieces, but I also do manufacturing, or I outsource the manufacturing. So I'll design pieces and then sell online or do some bespoke customized pieces. And I'd like all my jewelry really that I make or that I create always has a hidden message. There's some symbolism behind it. And my inspiration, if you like, is always tends to go back to Greece and Greek mythology. And there's always a meaning, a hidden meaning, which I think will resonate with anyone who wants to wear my jewelry, will see something in a piece and it will resonate with that wearer or that person. And it's very contemporary. My designs are very contemporary, very simple, very elegant. And you can layer pieces. I do a lot of statement rings as well. But I think every collection speaks to individual people. I think that's a bit about me and my jewelry.
I have about 100 questions, but first of all, congratulations! That evolution that you shared with us about how you work with different materials, and then you started online, and now look at you, that's amazing. So, one question I have, just a general question, is there etiquette about what kind of metal, stones, how many pieces to wear at one time? And I'll share with you where I'm going. So when I was growing up, it was always, if you have a silver watch, you need a silver wedding band. If you're going to wear gold earrings that are big, you have no necklace, which is what I'm doing now. So is that still valid?
It's still valid. I think it's still valid, but I think, if you, even how you store your jewelry, you should never mix metals. Pearls should always, never mix your metals, really. Silver will oxidize if you leave it out in the open. If you don't cover it with tissue paper, I would always wrap silver in tissue paper to keep it silver. I've got gold and silver on, ladies, so it doesn't really matter. I mix, but with pearls, you should always keep pearls in a silk bag, always with silk. Don't link them with any other metals. Always put your pearls with silk in a silk bag, in a silk pocket or something, or a box.
Can I just share something? So I work with a jeweler for a long time, and she always sends me the bags and the boxes, and I always throw them away.
Me too.
They're there for a reason.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was there for just beauty. Oh,
especially with earrings, isn't it? So earrings, if you have hoop earrings, it's best to keep them in the bags or in their boxes to separate because they'll get tangled. It's just
you would have a heart attack if you saw my jewelry case.
Don't. Oh no, don't.
I'm gonna go home and fix all of it now.
No, tidy it up. Yeah, no, you should never try not to. Basically, if you could put your silver together, fine. Gold together, fine. But just try not to, and don't put necklaces. Hang necklaces up. You can buy these little trees, I think, that you can hang jewelry on, so that works. But
wow, fast. Diann and I are both like, oh my gosh! Right after the show, I've got to go.
Forget George, I'm going home.
I think it's a personal taste as well. I think if you're wearing a gown, like a wedding gown, if you're going to a dinner party or a black gown event, then you would, depending on your hair. So Jacalyn, your hair is up, so definitely with big earrings. So it works, and you could still wear a necklace. It's like entirely up to you. Let's just be bold and make a statement if we want to, because I think it's up to you. You can mix colors and synthetic materials with metal, just whatever gives you that joy and that empowerment. Wear it as you wish, really.
I'm so glad you said that, because you might appreciate that. I absolutely love brooches. And I have brooches from I have teeny tiny little brooch that was my great grandmother's, and it's a little stagecoach. And anyone who saw it would think, ugh. But how they made jewelry back then was the tools were different. Anyway, with that being said, one day I was inspired by this one woman, and I just put on a black dress, and I covered it, a simple long black dress. I covered it front and back with every single brooch that I could get to sit up straight.
Oh, wow.
So I was nothing but a brooch statement.
Wow.
I probably went overboard, didn't I? But it was fun.
No, that's a statement in itself. And
Beautiful.
I love brooches. I think brooches are making a renaissance. They're making a comeback, by the way.
Oh, they are?
Oh, for sure, definitely. Vintage. I've always made a brooch in my collections. I love a pin on a gentleman's lapel. I think men should wear, pins and on their, because it just makes an outfit. I think it's just very simple.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of putting all your brooches.
Maybe the three of us can get together and we'll all be brooch lady.
Yeah. Definitely. Yes. I also, we have to take a break, but I want to see the pieces that you're wearing. And I just want to make a statement, which I don't know is actually valid or an observation that I have, but it seems like a number of designers of clothing, so handbags and shoes, they're using crystals that would be in jewelry pieces. They're putting them on the bottom of shoes. They're putting them on bags. I'm seeing more and more of this, so that almost like your clothing in some ways can be considered jewelry. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, even masks during the pandemic, there were all kinds of crystals. But we'd love to find out what you're wearing, the pieces you have on today. But first, we're going to take a break. We're going to hear from an award-winning UK singer and songwriter. His name is Tony Moore, and he is releasing a new single on July the 2nd. And so we have his video here, and it is a tribute to the rock and roll song Route 66, and it's his take on it. So you're going to see it here first. Let's take a look, and then we'll be right back.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diann's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diann's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diann's delightful books and much more at DiannFloydBoehm.com. Visit DiannFloydBoehm.com. That's DiannFloydBoehm.com.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure with my co-host Diann Floyd Boehm and our superstar guest, Naki, who is a designer, an entrepreneur, business owner, philanthropist, and a woman who has an incredible skill in dealing with metals, beads, all kinds of gems. We can't wait to learn more about you and see what you're wearing. Show us your designs, please.
So, yes. Well, I'm wearing a pendant called the Cocoon.
Pretty.
Yeah, this is
Really
gold. It's also in silver or white gold. This is from my Metamorphosis collection. I'll go on to that. I'm wearing a little pinky from my 6 of 6 collection, which is about the bee and the hexagon, and another hexagon design, which can be worn as a signet. But I
very
had
nice.
very little fingers, so I wear it on this. And this is 9 karat gold. It's a big signet ring. It's quite chunky. And then this piece is actually a vintage piece, which I had dipped in gold again. So
Love it.
I revamped that. I love it. It's just literally a glass stone, but I just think it's gorgeous. And then just another bangle, very plain bangle, but
Pretty.
yeah. So that's a couple. And then my earrings are eclipse, or I call them. I call them the eclipse because they've got a space. It looks like there's in the moon eclipse, or I call them
Yes.
the circles of life because each circle represents a stage of my life.
Wow.
And of
Ah,
course,
I love
the
it.
whole, the whole represents where there was some loss, to these earrings. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I love how you have sort of a modern approach, but also retro, and you took a piece and you transformed it, a piece you already had, and transformed it. I love that. It's like getting something brand new.
Yeah, revamp. You can revamp even some vintage pieces if you feel they look a little bit dull. Just get them dipped in gold again, get them polished again. It's just, and it will just give them that really nice fresh look, but it doesn't change the design, or you can change the design, take the stones out, melt the metal and just recreate something completely different.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'm going to do that tomorrow. Watch me. I'm so glad there are people like you.
But,
I just got melted.
Yeah, you could like really create a really big brooch, from all the, or design from, get a design from that. So I'm always looking for ideas wherever I travel, shadows, architecture, anything that I think just catches my eye. I find myself even staring at people sometimes, figuring out what they're wearing. But 2018, 2019, 2018, there was a trend of the bee because the bees, we need to protect our bees. And I wanted to also be on trend, but I didn't want to make anything that was obviously the bee, which everyone else was doing. So I decided to go the geometric route and look at the shape of the hexagon, which is based on the honeycomb, and about the worker bees and how they communicate through the hexagon and the honeycomb. They actually communicate through there, and they're perfectly formed hexagons. So it's an engineering feat. Like, I don't know how they came up with that design, but I've created a collection called 6 of 6. And it's all based on the hexagon. So it's primarily cuffs. And you'll see in here, there's like little hexagon.
Oh,
so
yes.
I've also got this in a cuff, some earrings, and we've got some of the earrings, you'll have emeralds in there as well. So I try and mix it all up. But yeah.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really nice pieces. I have a question for you, which is, how does one go, because you've done it already, how does one go from realizing that they have this talent as a jewelry designer, that they know how to work with different materials and metals, to actually having a business? What did that look like for you?
So that also depends on how you educate. So the course I did was gearing us to be able to manufacture, which therefore allows you to sell on a production basis. So you learn at the bench, which we the whole process. One thing I learned from doing that course and that diploma is some of the tools have not changed for 3,000 years.
Wow.
Jewelry. So the saw file hasn't changed since predated Egyptian time, and it doesn't need to. So there are certain tools in jewelry that you still need to do by hand. For a silversmith or a goldsmith, a machine can't do it. So it still needs a person. There's just certain processes that can't work. So the diploma I did helps you go from design idea to a theme. So imagine, even when you're decorating a house, you have a mood board. So that was part of our exam. We had to come up with a theme. We were given the theme of spring, and we had to go away and do some research and figure out what we wanted to do and what we wanted to make based on all the techniques we had learnt. And I did Aries, the ram. It's a pity I don't have it to show you. but I did a pendant of Aries' head with his horns, and his eyes were diamonds. So, or her eyes, she or he, right? It's a ram. So that was my final piece. And then towards the end of that course, I made my first wax. You work with wax, so you can carve in wax, and then you have the wax created in a mold, and then it's put into metal. So there's a whole process of casting, and you learn that process, which helps you then figure out, okay, can I produce pieces? If I did produce pieces, how many? What would that cost? Work with other suppliers. And so three of us decided we would collaborate and do an exhibition as part of our graduation, a selling exhibition. And that kind of got me into maybe I should create a website, maybe I should do some branding. The branding took me a while because I wasn't aware of how to do branding. So I've learnt over the years. And in 2015, I rebranded Nakibirango. You know how you've got Yves Saint Laurent, Dolce & Gabbana. I went to Greece on holiday and someone said, just use your name. Just use your name. So Nakibirango is my full name, and I use Naki as my short form. So I rebranded, and that's my new branding, and it worked. And
it's a great name.
It is.
Thank you. It apparently means Queen of the Leopard Forest.
Oh.
Can you imagine? I'm not sure if that was
That's
a joke.
beautiful.
But yeah.
That is beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. It's very interesting. So you have a line of manufacturing product pieces, and then you also can do custom work.
Yeah, so I have ready to wear, if you like, which is on the website. And then sometimes customers like to customize. So they'll see a piece like, these earrings, for example, but they'll want them in a pendant, or they'll want a stone put in, or they'll want something different. So I'll customize, and that could be a bespoke consultation, if you like. Or I've had gentlemen ask for rings. Oh, I don't wear a wedding band. Why don't I just have one made? Because so they'll just give me a call. Things like that. I'll have beading requests or metal requests. So mostly they want to customize what they've seen online, and they want to make it a bit more personal. So
that's great.
You'll get gentlemen call me and ask. So this cocoon is actually hollow, but it's 35 grams in weight, so it's actually quite heavy. So it's two halves, and then it's soldered together, and it's based on the emperor moth. So the idea is that the moth will come out as a butterfly, and it transforms into a butterfly.
Beautiful.
But the cocoon represents transformation. So it's kind of a tactile piece because it has weight. He ordered one in white gold, and he had four emeralds put inside, which you can't see but you can hear, to spell the word love. And then he gave that to his.
Aww.
I mean, she said there could be pebbles for all I know. But
yeah, I was going to ask you if you had opened up and you saw a butterfly, but that story is precious. I have a question for you. So nowadays, when jewelry is just made by machines and it's just like sold, but when you look at vintage and now you make your own, do you have a signature? Because I always try to look for jewelry that has the signature, because I really want to honor the person who made it.
So by law, you have that we call that a hallmark. So that is a legal requirement to certify that the jewelry you're selling is authentic. And so therefore, if you do go to vintage markets or trade fairs where there might be some vintage pieces, always look for that hallmark. The hallmark is supposed to, so it will have my initials, the year I registered my hallmark, the city the hallmark is registered in, which would be London, and then whatever the metal. So it will have 925 if it's silver. So I have a hallmark that's registered with the goldsmiths. It's a entity, it's a body, governing body in London. So and now they're asking people to also hallmark gold as well by law. So it's like a trademark.
That's great. I didn't even know. Did you, Jackie?
Yeah.
Jacalyn? Sorry.
Always look for, and there's a lot of, because of this big manufacturing market now and cheaper market, you will find disingenuous traders that kind of put us out of work because it's cheaper, it's mass produced, but it's not real metal, or it could be nickel. It looks like silver, but it's not. And there is a process in London where those things get confiscated, because by law. So that's a hallmark, which shows the initials. But on vintage pieces, it might have just had the date and maybe a stamp of an initial and maybe the town. I'm not sure how they do it in the US, but they should still be some sort of legal hallmark that authenticates the jewelry.
I think, Diann, now we're going to be spending even more time in our jewelry cases examining everything you say.
Where's the magnifying glass?
Exactly.
You should. No, you should.
Naki,
Actually, when I go to, sorry, Dr. Jacalyn, when I go to antique stores, because I really enjoy it as a pastime, it's fascinating. I carry a magnifying glass with me
No, you should.
while
Smart.
I'm at the jewelry counter, because that's when you turn it around, that's where you find out everything. And what you just shared was fascinating.
Yeah, and also with the magnifying glass, it can show you if there's a stone missing, if there's a stone loose, if there's any damage. So it depends on what the price is. And one of my favorite designers is no longer around, but it's from the 20s, is Lalique, and he was famous. He was famous for enamel work. Probably some of the best, intricate, beautiful brooches. I'll send you some information, Diann. But French, and just the enameling work that he would do was just so beautiful and absolutely stunning. And one of his famous brooches is a dragonfly, which is just. So I have aspirations to move to kind of work more in enamel, because I think it's like a painting. It's like painting but jewelry. It's just beautiful.
it's absolutely beautiful. I'm wondering, Naki, that there are a lot of designers out there that are mass producing pieces, and you might find them in some of the top end department stores or online. If someone said to you, I love this piece by XYZ designer, can you make that for them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to copy. It's not something, but if that's, I would just advise them to buy it from the designer that they'd like. Why, if it's the same thing, I wouldn't remake it. Why would I copy that if it already exists? And it wouldn't necessarily be any cheaper. So I think.
Oh, that's what I was.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think it's cheaper, but actually it might work out more expensive.
More expensive, right?
It's my time. It's a different process, potentially. So they don't necessarily save money sometimes,
right?
Or unless they just like a piece, but they want to, customize it. And certain jewelry houses won't customize because they're mass produced. So maybe in those cases, but yeah. It does happen. I get lots of requests for that. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you have, did you say 3 lines? Or was it
3 collections?
3 collections. So what are the 3 collection names?
So I've got Heritage, which is a lot of it to do with a lot of my heritage from Uganda primarily. So there's influence there. So you'll see lots of shapes of Africa. I've got 6 of 6, which is a lot of cuffs, and that's based on the hexagon. I've got goddesses and gods, which again takes the mythology and the Greek mythology. So a lot of pieces, very big statement pieces in that one, or simple chains and earrings in that one, taking influence from goddesses and muses. And then I've got Metamorphosis, which is the cocoon, and a step ring is in there. So they're existing collections. The new collection that I'd like to launch, but I think I'll do some sort of investment collaboration with this one, is called Earth Series. And that is to create awareness of the fragility of our Earth and create awareness of endangered species. So in there, I've got the jade vine, and I'll send you some info and images, but it's on my website and my Instagram. But the jade vine, which is almost extinct because they've cut down a lot of the forests in Asia, beautiful flower, Then I've got the manta ray, which is also endangered, that I've created a brooch and a pendant design for. And then I've got a little hummingbird as well, which I've created a pin and a pendant for. And that's going to be a new collection called Earth Series that I'm just trying to create a bit more awareness and maybe collaborate with a brand that, wants to give back or some sort of cause. So that's taking a slightly different approach to the jewelry that I've made before. And it will be high end, that one. Lots of diamonds and enameling and a lot more high end, but certainly to try and get a bit more awareness. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sounds fantastic. Wow. I can't wait to see it.
So do beautiful designers like you, do y'all do like the fashion world where you have like this rollout at night of looking at fashions and the model wears it or something? I'd be curious how you get your message out there.
Yeah, it's tricky. And I mean, I'm still an emerging designer. I still think of myself as an emerging designer. I keep myself a little bit quiet, so I should get out there a bit more. But there's always
definitely you should. That ring's incredible, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but you should.
Thank you. But PR is always key, isn't it? PR is, you have to really push the PR. Product placement is absolutely key for me, for any designer, fashion, jewelry, accessories. Collaboration with other brands also works. I've done trade fairs. Now they're moving online, so it's a little bit tricky on how we do trade fairs now. I don't find them always very economically viable, especially where you're a small design house or an individual. I've done my own location shoot. So one of my favorite shoots for a lookbook that I did for the 6 of 6 collection is I went to Uganda and we did a shoot by the River Nile, which just looked awesome. So yeah, I was really happy with that. It just worked. It was stunning, if I have to say myself. Yeah. But with red carpet, I'm always trying to Twitter and ping and DM, some celebrities, not just celebrities that I know will fit my brand or have the like-minded approach that I have. To kind of do product placement. So it's not easy. It's expensive as well. But yeah, I haven't done a red carpet yet. I haven't had anyone on the red carpet yet.
You will.
It will happen.
You will, for sure. I was going to ask you, how has social media impacted your business? And it sounds like it gives you more opportunities to spread awareness.
Definitely more opportunities. Instagram, I think, is great. Twitter's great. You can really send the message out. You get all these free apps now with Instagram, so you can create quick videos and really tell a story, an emotive story for some of the collections that you might want to share, particularly the Earth series. I did like a build up, although I haven't launched that yet. I've got someone in Dubai who might want to invest, so fingers crossed. But yeah, no, social media, Facebook's really helped. Facebook's been really good, I think, for my brand, and Instagram. But I think Facebook for me has really, because it drives traffic to the website and you can now link the shop to Facebook. So it's kind of a streamlined experience for somebody, for a customer. Trade fairs, a bit tricky. Get to meet people.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think we're all nodding our head on that. But it's kind of like we feel like you have to understand, do it, but not a lot of revenue comes from it, right?
No, not a lot. But I think there is an angle. There's something different that could be done. It's just doing it in a different way. I don't know. I've been invited to, I've been linked to brands like Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Audi, through other. So I've done product placements through other fashion, journalists who work with luxury brands. And there's a lady that she reviews luxury cars, and so I would gift her. So it's just this collaboration of I service you and you service me. There's no transactional exchange. It's just give them a piece. I think that's pretty standard now. With these bloggers and whatnot, but again, it has to work for the brand. It has to be the right fit.
Well, before we close, Dr. Jacalyn had made a comment, and so Dr. Jacalyn, if you want to pick up on that about jewelry and how it makes you feel, do you want to enlighten
Do
us
you
on
ever
that.
feel naked? Is there like okay, with a wedding band is one piece of jewelry, but I probably, if I'm going out, I will always have studs or something on. It's very rare unless I'm maybe in the gym, but I won't, but these, I have 2 silver rings, never take them off. Never take them off. I probably never take this bangle off, just because sometimes it can be comforting. It's almost like those worry stones.
Yes.
Yes.
A little bit like that. And I think it definitely, for me, I do feel, especially if you've got like a little black outfit or a black number or whatever, and you're going out for dinner and you just put on one necklace, just gives you that, for me, it gives you that spark, makes you feel a bit taller, or it might actually have a sentimental value. So you might feel safer, or someone's closer to you, or, it has whatever you want it to mean. And I think everyone has that one piece of jewelry that they probably cherish forever. Yeah.
The one piece.
Yes.
Can I just one? I'm in trouble.
Not just one.
I mean,
You know what?
Yeah.
The piece that I don't have that I'd really like to have, I don't know why. I've been thinking about it for years. I've always been a big fan of Cleopatra, and I always wanted one of those snake bracelets, whatever, snakes. Yes.
Arm cuff.
I don't ever see anybody wearing them.
What do you call it?
Arm cuff.
Arm cuff.
So it's like a cuff, but it would be an arm.
Okay.
Yeah, like a cuff. And Cleopatra, again, take a lot of influence from Cleopatra in Egyptian times. I have a scarab beetle, so I have the scarab pendant that I'm also launching. So he's considered to be, he was called the sun god, the dung beetle that would roll, and they would believe that he's rolling the sun into dawn, so they called it, the sun god. So the scarab is quite, and they had scarab, like ink. They used to have like rings that you could open, and they'd have secret messages inside.
I was just going to talk about that. That's right.
I mean, I went to Tutankhamun exhibition. If this was touring, I highly recommend you go, because the jewels that they would wear, and lapis, and all these stones that we think we discovered, they've been there for years. Carnelian and vases literally made from turquoise that they would drink wine from. I mean,
wow.
It's
wow.
like ostentation on another level. But we'll talk, Jacalyn. We'll talk.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
My mom used to collect those rings. She called them poison rings, but it was from Cleopatra, and I keep going to my finger. We'd have to go to the antique stores, of course, and if she found one, she would just like be giggling with excitement, and then she'd go home and she'd actually put perfume or something in.
Wow. Yeah, no, they used to put inks and notes and and hieroglyphics, and but it was considered good luck. It was an amulet for good luck or protection, But yeah.
My mother said that she would, because she collected them, but even before she was married, and she'd say, "This ring, honey, has poison in it. You better buy me a good steak." Sorry, I thought you'd appreciate that.
Oh wow,
that's funny. I have one more question for you, which is, and I think we don't really give this a lot of thought, but when we have certain metals or stones on our body, maybe we have moisturizer, maybe we're spraying hairspray, we have perfume. Are there interactions, like chemical interactions between certain metals and gems that we have to be really aware of?
So that if you do wear perfume and the metal changes, that is your absolute indicator it's not real silver or real gold. That'll tell you it's either plated with something, coated with something, if it reacts to the perfume, to the alcohol. If you're wearing pearls, I would always, with anything really, is put your perfume on before you put your jewelry, and then particularly with pearls, just because of the alcohol in the jewelry. But mixing with moisturizer, I think it's okay. If the metals are real and they're not fake, you'll know very quickly. Even washing your hands with soap, you'll know very quickly if that metal is what it's supposed to be, because it will react. No doubt it will react to any soaps or perfumes, but no real rule. Certain stones, by the way, with crystals, you can't really wear together, and that's just more of a holistic perspective, but not everyone follows that perspective. But some stones are toxic if they're not coated, like malachite. You should be careful. That should always be coated because it is a toxic stone, so just be careful with malachite.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that either. What about cleaning your stones with toothpaste?
With metal, silver, not a problem, because as I said before, it oxidizes. So I have some necklaces with turquoise that just have gone a bit dark, and I do use toothpaste sulfate to clean them, but I wouldn't use it with precious, the emeralds or anything. Like, take it to a jeweler's. There are kits you can buy that you can clean your jewelry with, but by all means, it's like taking the car for a service. You take your jewelry to be clean. Like, think of it that way, because jewelry is an investment. Any piece of jewelry, it's an investment, in my opinion, and should be looked after. Hence the vintage. The antiques, they've lasted, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. So something I've been doing that sounds like it's definitely wrong is using the old Windex to clean my jewelry.
People on the radio can't see all of us shaking our head.
Well, it depends. What sort of jewelry is it?
Diamonds?
Is it okay? Oh, I mean, I wouldn't, but I mean, it's okay. With diamonds, it's just, warm water. And if you need, it's the metal really that changes over time. And you could just, like I did with this ring, you just take it and you get it dipped again. And it goes to a lovely, nice, this is dipped in 18 karat.
It's beautiful.
You just
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
How can
all right.
Order your stuff?
Online, so www.nakibirango.com, or you can DM me on at nkb_London, and I've got lots that you'll see what I get up to on Instagram, all the different stories. And I have my little cherub, which I always wear, by the way.
Nice.
I love that.
Always
love that.
Yeah.
Naki, let's spell your full name for people on the radio. So the website is www.nakibirango.com. And if you miss the spelling, you can go over to our YouTube channel. Even if you're on the radio, you can go over to YouTube, Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and you can check out this show from the very beginning. It has been such a pleasure having you here. I'd really love to see your Aries design as well, because I'm an Aries.
And I'm an Aries.
Yes, right. You're there.
I'm a Leo. 3 fire signs.
Oh my gosh.
I'll send you some pictures. Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. And if you have a reel, an MP4 file, promotion that you'd like us to run during the show, we'd love to do that for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure.
Awesome, ladies. Really, really. You've inspired me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've inspired us, and thank you for bringing your energy and your beauty and all the lovely work that you have accomplished. And we can go to your website and we could order from you right there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your, I guess it's evening there now, right? What time is it?
Almost. Yeah, almost.
Yeah. All right. Good evening. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you again. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, ladies.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was so much great information, beautiful pieces that she has. And I'm glad to hear about her evolution of how she started and where she is now, where she's going.
She has a fascinating story, and I learned so much. And especially, I was like, I took all my jewelry out of the boxes or their covers because I like opening up and seeing the jewelry in the jewelry box. And
me
I'm like,
too.
now I'm gonna have to go put them in the closet. Meaning
I know,
in a
because
little box.
Yeah, the funny thing is you just don't know like you don't know where anything is if they're in the bags, because then you just
Right.
forget anyway. Diann, what's the best way for people to reach you?
You can reach me at www.diannfloydboehm.com.
Okay, there you have it. So
There you have
please go to her website and order her books and support her work. Thank you, Diann.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much.
Support your work. And what
Thank
a great show. I had a blast today and learned so much.
I did too. I learned a lot.
Get a cup of tea and just let her keep talking.
I know. It's funny. I love doing these shows, and all of them run over. And I love it. But what I find is then I have like literally 3 minutes to get changed. You never get to eat anything, but everybody shares such great stories, such great information. I feel really blessed to have this opportunity and to have you with me and my other co-hosts, that we're giving people a stage to share what they're doing.
You're absolutely right. And thank you. You're a real blessing to a lot of people in the world. So keep it up and go grab something to eat.
All right. Thanks. Tell John I said hi, and thank you so much for stopping and being on the show. That's like above and beyond. So
you take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. We have our next show coming up, which is I Have a Story to Tell. And right after that, we have Pet Psychic Amina. And then finally, we have Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity, and The Variety Show. Just a quick note that The Variety Show will be on hiatus for the rest of the summer. I think we have a few episodes left, and then I'm actually giving myself that time back during the summer. So we'll be back with that show in the fall. Two other announcements. We have a brand new show coming on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. British Summer Time, and it's called An Audience with celebrity psychic Gemma. Now, if you're interested in getting a reading from Gemma, you can go to our website, drjacalyn.com/book your session. And I will be the only person who has the information that you're coming on the show. I will not be posting it on social media. It will not be in our newsletter. Gemma will not have any idea. And in fact, you will join the show after it's already started. You will not be putting your name there when you come onto StreamYard. So that Gemma will literally have no information about you whatsoever. So this isn't about you building your brand or becoming famous or anything to do with anything other than getting an authentic reading from the celebrity psychic. My last message, I'm working on my second and third book at the same time, and I need about 5 people for each one who want to volunteer their stories. The second book is, I already did the first book. The second one is Behind the Mask, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. During the pandemic, we obviously all are wearing masks, but people have been wearing invisible masks for a lot of their life, some of their life, maybe it just started, and they can be a mask of pain, fear, guilt, anxiety. So if you'd like to share your story and have a chapter dedicated to you, please do contact me, Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. And finally, the third book is Behind the Arm Tattoo. I've never been a big fan of tattoos because I didn't really understand anything about them. But during the pandemic, I started watching The Ink Master, and I learned how much goes into the design and the execution and all of the personal reasons people have for getting a tattoo. So if you have an arm tattoo and you have a story, then please contact me, Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. You might ask why it's the arm, because we need photographs of it. I don't want people in any process of disrobing. So if it's on your arm, it's easy for us to take a picture and include it in the book. So thank you again for listening, for watching. I'm going to take a quick break, get something to eat and change, and I'll be back with you on I Have a Story to Tell. See you later.